All right, SummerSlam is done. Now I want to be honest here. I just botched twice on this video because of my frustration. I'm going to make this clear. For the last few years that we've been doing this two-night event for WrestleMania and SummerSlam has not been working like everyone thinks it was going to work. It just happened. They said every major pay-per-view there's going to be a two-night event. And I'm going to be honest here. The last few years has not worked. Look at this WrestleMania. Night 1 sucked. Night 2 was better. But it doesn't mean it was 100% WrestleMania quality. It was good, but it wasn't great or memorable, all of it. The year before, it was better, but it wasn't all 100% memorable. The year before that, yes, it was. Memorable WrestleMania. But now, for WrestleMania and SummerSlam, Night 1 sucks. Night 2 is better. But it doesn't mean it's great. Here, this is Night 1 of SummerSlam. This is Night 2 of SummerSlam. This is average. Something you would see on Raw or SmackDown. Here. Shouldn't it be Night 1, SummerSlam or WrestleMania, and Night 2 should be here. And we've been getting either here for Night 2, here for Night 2, and Night 1 we get here or here. For most of the matches that should be on Raw, most of the matches that should be on SmackDown, and only maybe one match or two that are near SummerSlam or WrestleMania quality. And I know I'm not going to be agreed with. I know everyone's going to say this was an incredibly great show. And I'm not saying it was bad. I'm not. As I said, I was mostly satisfied with it. Compared to Night 1, which was very disappointing, even though we did get some good stuff during the night. But let's make it clear. There was stuff on this show I did not agree with. Let's open ads. We had 33 to 34 ads, I believe. I could be wrong about the number. It could either have been 31 to 34 to 35. I think it might have been 34. Guys, at one point, we had a dick-enhancing ad. A sexual performance ad on TV. I know this is the internet. I know that they want to get sponsors. You are doing something similar to a Blue Chew. And I don't even remember what the name of the ad was for the dick heartening ad. What the fuck? No, look, you got kids who watch this. And WWE, long ago, you can say a lot about Vince, but he was always careful to put, if any ads were needed to be added, to make money, of course, he made sure they were checked to see what type of ads would be shown on the show. And I'm not even saying Vince is great. Listen to my words. That son of a bitch should never be in the wrestling again. That's the truth. But at least he made sure it was true child friendly. When in the blue fuck do you actually have a sexual performance ad for a pill to make your dick hard for your woman be presented on a pay-per-view? When? If you agree that it doesn't matter, then you really don't think about kids. Because this was supposed to be... Calm. This is one of the reasons why I botched twice, because I got pissed. Understand, pro wrestling was meant to not just be for men, but by the time I was a kid, in the 80s, hitting into the 90s, it was supposed to be for kids, and it gave a little bit of edge for the teens and adults. Yes, but advertisement always stayed pretty clean for kids. Now, it doesn't mean they hadn't had ads that were... Look, they've had ads over the decades in WWE that were questionable, that were risque, that could push the boundaries a bit. But we're talking about sexual performance ad for pills to make your penis bigger. Actually, I should have started with that instead of getting so angry and start talking about dick. Dick. Guys, no, I don't agree with this. It was wrong. Now, they did show some, well, what few legends they wanted to show. The Killer Bees were in the mask. Molly Holly. Rick Montel. I don't remember who else was there, but there was one more person. I can't remember. But that kind of got overshadowed by members of the Vikings and any other celebrity or sports star. And this is the thing that kills me. During one of the ads, we got ads for UFC. Look, I don't have a problem showing UFC with Dana White, but you know what? I'm kind of hoping they would focus more on making sure that wrestling was the focus. But I'm just me. Just you guys tell me below. Let's go to the first match. First match is the number one contendership for CM Punk's title. Which we had Finn Balor and we had Sami Zayn. They were going to go at it. But the returning to GM Nick Aldis, which I don't know how long it'll be before he tries again. I personally hope that he will go back into the ring eventually, again. But he's now back in his position in SmackDown. He's been reinstated. And he said, I believe that this match needed something extra. And we added Gunther to the match, which pissed the hell out of Sammy. He was so angry. And understandable, Sammy is being screwed. Finn wasn't too angry about it, but he wasn't happy either. But then we get one more person, the returning Kevin Owens. Now, I'm happy to see him back, and I'm so glad he's back. I was worried because a lot of people thought he may never be able to come back because of his injury. But he's back. He did great in the match. And in the end, the person he pinned, guess who? Not Finn and not Gunther. Sammy. He pinned Sammy with a stunner in the middle of the ring. So what does that mean? Sammy's on, what, SmackDown? Yeah, Sammy's on SmackDown. I take a bet that KO is going to be on SmackDown as well, and they are going to have their little bit against one another. I think it's coming. I think something's going to come up where Sammy and KO are going to have some interaction. Do I believe it's going to be a great interaction? Don't know yet. I don't know. They've already had one incredibly great feud. And he made it very clear after that feud, he had to go away because of injury. I do believe it was his neck that he was really messed up. And I'm glad he's back. But, dude, what do I want to see? Do I want to see a rehashing of the feud between Kevin and Sammy, but in reverse? I don't know if I want to go there. I don't know. I'm not even sure they'll go there. Particularly that now, what we got between Cody and do I believe they would actually forgo KO and Sammy to have Randy Orton and KO? Maybe they'll team them back together. I don't know. It's up in the air. But the question is, what are they going to do? And hopefully will be booked well, which I don't know if it will be. Moving on. The match I really didn't care that much about. U.S. title match. Trick Willie versus a Baron. Mr. Corbin, if you will. Who has become... when they made that announcement, while they were doing their announcements, and when Michael Cole talked about Baron Corbin becoming a Jiu-Jitsu gold medalist in the Pan American Games for Jiu-Jitsu, while they were getting themselves ready, and Trick with Little Yachty, and I got my thoughts on Little Yachty, I went and did a quick look to see about Baron, and he's won gold 2 times in a year, and silver as well, in Jiu-Jitsu. They're pretty damn good for himself. I wondered why they brought him back. That might have been it. He has made his mark in Jiu-Jitsu, and they thought, well, he's still making some headlines in media. Bring his ass back so we can keep that going. That's what I think happened. But now, you see him on my face. And I do believe I got a shot of Little Yachty. He's there. He's been there. I can't stand him. Not because I hate the guy. I just can't stand him because Trick Williams doesn't need him. Just like expressions. When it comes to AJ Francis, why are you using a Little Yachty who can talk, who could be a good manager for somebody? Why did you pair him up with Trick Williams? Whether he's his friend or not, I don't agree with it. Just like with expressions working with AJ Francis, I don't agree with him working with him either. Not because both of them suck as managers. It's not that. They both can talk very well, and they both have taken bumps. Look, Little Yachty, it's in my face. Little Yachty got thrown off the ring apron on and through a table. He was one to take that bump. Not everyone can take a bump. Especially take it right, because they can get hurt. But he took it. I give him props. But I truly believe that Little Yachty should be unpaired with Trick and put with someone else could actually gain something from someone who can talk so well. That is the way I think it should be. Remember, managers are used in most cases to either be heaters, like for women, or for people who really don't talk that well. Like with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. In this case, Trick can talk. He can talk better than Little Yachty can. But he's still working with him. I just don't agree with this. And the match itself was alright. It wasn't one of the most spectacular matches I've ever seen from Baron or Trick. But someone decided in the back that Trick needed to drop that damn title. And he did. And now Baron Corbin, who's only held the U.S. title once, is now a 2-time U.S. champion. Why? Why take it off of Trick? Either because he's hurt, which I don't think he is. Either because he's going to go and do something like do a movie or something, which I don't think he'll do. Or was it a reward for Baron Corbin for being willing to come back after he got released? To show that if you come back, we'll give you a championship and let you run with it. And we'll sacrifice Trick Williams because it's not going to hurt him too much. Trick Williams is doing a lot of good stuff with that title. Once he was doing well. Of course, taking away from Little Yachty, I don't believe he needs him. But I just don't agree with this. I think he didn't need it. I don't think Baron Corbin needed the title. And I don't think Trick Williams needed to lose the title. I don't agree with this. It was a fun match. Seeing Little Yachty go through a table was alright. Baron Corbin winning a championship, if he had earned it, fine. But he didn't. He didn't earn it. They just gave it to him at the expense of Trick Williams. And if I'm wrong, fine. You guys tell me the reason why Trick needed to drop it. Explain it. Explain why Trick needed to drop it, when, to be honest, he really didn't need it. Moving on to the match that I'm like, oh my... Last night, we had a terrible women's tag match. It was not good. It sucked. The Bellas with Paige and Fatal Influence was not a good match. I told you already what happened. Brie and Nikki were the ones who held that match back the most. They're the ones who didn't. That's not meant to be mean to them. It's just their style is not as fast-paced as the rest of the women in Paige's style. Paige's style is a very aggressive style that is fast-paced. That's a European style of wrestling. And Fatal Influence is doing that style, and Brie and Nikki are not. Now, I gave a little props to Brie that she was able to do some backflips, and Nikki as well, coming back after getting her ankle, I think it was a knee fixed, and she was a bit slow in the ring. That's understandable. She just came back. Yes, she had trained, but going in the ring is different than training. So she was a little slow. But both their styles are just not that great. And now, Paige has been discarded where everyone knew they were going to discard her. And then we get this match. We got Jade. We got Lash. We got Chelsea. We got Charlotte. We got Tiffany. Who was the last person that was in that match? I'm missing someone. There's someone else I'm missing, I think. I know I'm missing someone. I don't remember who I'm missing. Let's see. Lash Legend, Jade Cargill, Chelsea Green, Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte. I think that's all of them. I think. And I'm going to be honest here. There was only 2 people who could have gotten that title. Either Chelsea Green or Charlotte. I actually knew there was either Chelsea or Charlotte because it made no sense for Tiffany as a face. Tiffany as a face is not as interesting as a heel. And currently she's working with Chelsea as faces and she's not as interesting. Lash, no. It makes no sense to give it to Lash. It just doesn't. Jade, no. It just doesn't. And you guys tell me below. Here's a shot at Jade Cargill. What was she thinking? I'm being honest here. Look. I'm not against women showing how beautiful they are physically. Jade Cargill is a beautiful woman who is physically daunting. She is chiseled out of stone like rarely any women are chiseled that much. And she has already had a kid and she chiseled out of stone. But did she need to wear that top? That ring attire? No. I was worried that her titty would pop out. I'm being honest here. I know she probably took precautions to make sure it would not move. But I'm being honest here. That top, the way it was, I was worried that one of her boobs would have popped the hell out of there and we would see some titty with some with a piece of tape over it just in case it popped out. She was very careful to make sure her top had been tight as possible to make sure her breast would not fall out. And I commend her for that. But did she need it? No, she did not. She didn't need it. And honestly, that made me worried that something was going to go wrong during this match. But taking away from her top, this match was terrible. Most of the women tried to do the spots and could not do it. They just stood there in certain cases. Others, they tried to connect with the ladder and never connected. And many others, when it was Lash and Tiffany, the way you saw Lash taking those hits to the ladder, she didn't even bend all the way down to even take it. She just slammed her hand there and didn't even try to make it look good. It was horrible. Even trying to climb the ladder, every woman there did not look perfectly well. Even Chelsea, who won the match. And I actually am glad at Chelsea because she is over with the crowd. The fans were screaming for her. That is how much she's over. She is the most over woman in that match. And yes, the baddies came out and basically pummeled her ass while her legs were caught in the ladder. I don't have a shot of it. But I'm telling you right now, she was the most over. And I was not surprised she won. I'm not. Like I said, either her or Charlotte, which would make the most sense if they're trying to build a story between Charlotte and Jade Cargill, which is supposed to be coming, really coming, this would have been it. But they didn't do it. It went to Chelsea. So I give it to Chelsea. She earned to get that title back. She did. And people love her for that. But that match, no. That was worse than the 6-woman tag last night. How the women were not willing to take full bumps on the ladder or bumping into each other with the ladder or throwing the ladder at each other. Yeah, you did have a few, like Charlotte took a bump on it. Yes, she did. Straight to the face. Tiffany took a bump on it. But almost everybody else was not willing. They weren't fully willing. And I'm not against Chelsea. But even she was a little reluctant to do it. It was terrible. Next. Here's where I get really angry. Look, I want to make this clear. I like comedy in pro wrestling. Okay? We've had comedy over the decades. The Bushwhackers were comedy. Yes. New Day was comedy. Breezango was comedy. Yes. We've had several people do comedy. We've had the Ash of Elegance, who is still doing comedy. But when she wants to do serious, she can. When she was Dana Brooke. We had, in this situation, well, in TNA situation, we had Johnny Swinger. If anybody remembers Johnny, he was a comic wrestler and still is. Yee. Doing the 1980s gimmick. Nothing wrong with that. The Outrunners, if I'm remembering correctly in AEW, they were practically comedians themselves. And I'm telling you the truth. There's nothing wrong with comedy. When you look at a R-Truth, a Ron Killings, who's always done comedy where everyone loves him. For me personally, I'm angry they would not let him stay Ron Killings. What he's doing with Damian Priest sucks because he should be Ron Killings. He should be the man who 100% showed when he wanted to be serious and showed that he can get things done. That's what I wanted, and we don't have it. He's still doing comedy. And now we have Danhausen and the Mini-Housens and a human monies on a pole match. I have no idea if JD didn't lose his shit. JD was not happy for the last couple of weeks, and I know he lost his shit when it comes to this match, because was this a great match? It was a comedic match. It was okay. I'm rating it fairly. I'm not being biased, okay? But I'm being honest here. It was okay for what it was. 100K because Dom was stupid enough to trust Danhausen to try and make a product. And we get this match where we got the Mini-Housens, which are lucha wrestlers. You got JD McDonough coming out to try and help him because there's no pinfall, no submission, no countout. It's just get the money, and he comes out. Then we get Joe Henry. This is the thing that pisses me off. Joe, who should be more important, is working this situation. He comes out to nail JD McDonough with a damn guitar that you would see a Jeff Jarrett use or an Elijah use. Former Elias, Elijah would use. And all I've seen, I'm going to be honest here. Joe Henry's, I've always loved the guy. It wasn't about his singing. It wasn't about him breaking guitars on people. It was when he could get it done. He talks great. He does good work in the ring. He can be someone. He was in TNA. He was in NXT. But since he's came to the main roster, he's done nothing. He sucks so bad. The only thing they've done is typecast him to act like a comedic wrestler and to do singing in the ring. And the thing is, he's not interesting anymore. They have not made him interesting. They made a guy that has good charisma, who can sing, who can wrestle, who can talk. Boring! Because they have not booked him correctly, and anyone who he's worked with has not been booked correctly. As I said last night, it's not about the one person being booked bad. It's about both people being booked bad. One must be booked good to help elevate the other one, and vice versa. And what we got whenever he's worked hasn't worked. And this match, let's make it clear, there was no way Dom was going to win. There was no way. I didn't believe Dom was going to win for a second. And guess what? He didn't. Cursed to Dom, and he gets sparks in the face. And I believe I got a shot of that. That's in my face. He wins the end of the match, and everyone takes a bow, and I believe I got that. I think I got that. If I don't, sorry. I am disappointed. I hated this match. Not because it was terrible. It was because, just like in regular comedic wrestling, you do it in spurts. I'm saying this now. Anybody else hasn't said it? Fine. I'm saying this. When it comes to comedic wrestling, you don't do it constantly. When you do it like that, you overexpose the wrestlers and make it bad. If there is a storyline with them, of course, fine. But when there's no storyline for them, and there's nothing going on, and yes, the Cursed Father 2 is going on with this. But they've overdone it with Danhausen. 5 segments with Danhausen a couple of weeks ago, and then this match. And I'm sure they're going to push it even more. Particularly, there was a guy in the arena, I don't know if I got the shot, he's in my face, dressed as Danhausen. Right now, management thinks, Oh, we got them so good. Just keep pushing Danhausen down their throats even more. Moving on. The match that I was happy to see and glad to finally have the outcome it deserved was... I think he started in 2014 or 15 when he was working with... Was it 2014 or 15? I can't remember when Alpha Academy got started with Chad Gable and Otis. I can't remember. It's been a while. And before that, they worked together. They've been together. They've done good work separately. They've done good work together. But Chad Gable never got a championship ever in WWE's when it was singles. And they pushed him to a certain point and then they dropped him. Pushed him, dropped him, pushed him, dropped him. Then they gave him the Grande Americana. And it worked. Then he went away, came back, finished that story, and now they gave him this, finally, the opportunity to get a real championship. And to be honest, I'm glad this happened. I'm glad the match, and it was the second best match of the night for me. I'm being honest here. This was the second best match of the night for me personally. The first match for the number one contendership for CM Punk's championship was fine. It was great. But this was the second best match for me personally because of the story that they did with Chad Gable, which was just to show the truth. Honestly, kind of like the best match of the night. This was about Chad never winning a championship, going up and downs, and finally winning a championship. He did get busted open at one point. He was bleeding. He got blood in his face. His family came in, his mom, his dad, his wife, his kids. And he said the truth. I'm from Minnesota. My name is Chad Gable. And I am a Intercontinental Champion. Now here's the thing. What now? As much as that was a feel-good moment, and it was a memorable feel-good moment, like it was for me watching Gunther and Nick Aldis, that was a feel-good moment. A moment where, like, with Nick Aldis, he got a chance to finally be on a pay-per-view and have a match. What he's wanted all his life. Here, same thing. He finally won a championship after everything. But what are they going to do? I'm worried that the booking for Chad Gable will not be good. I am very worried about that. After all the hard work he did with the Grande Americana gimmick, he worked hard to get it over, and he did. Along with Ludwig Kaiser, who is currently Americana right now. He's still in Americana. He's going to be at AAA in September 11th and 10 and 11th. They're both going to be there. So was it September 11th or September 12th? I think it's 10 and 11. But he's still doing the Americano gimmick. And Chad finally has the moment he deserves. I'm glad about it. Hold on. Since my battery died the first time, and I'm almost near the end of the recording ability of this camera, I don't want to get disturbed. We are now at the final match. Roman versus Seth for the World Championship. The story between Roman and Seth is over. That's what this is. This is 12 years ago is when the story began, when Seth betrayed the Shield with Dean at the time, and I will talk about a Moxley in a few moments because he was added in the story of this match. But with Dean, with Roman, with Seth, once the chair shot went to the neck, well, to the back really, near the neck, trying to make it look good, we had a divergence for all three of them. Roman became the tribal chief. Seth became the architect. Right now, we have the Death Rider, who is currently one of the most staples of AEW. All three of them have gone off in their own right. And I'm saying this even for Moxley. All three of them have gone off in their own directions and have made themselves memorable. One became an AEW original. One who is now the WWE multiple-time champion and then Seth Rollins, and another one who also became a multiple-time champion as the Tribal Chief and had one of the longest reigns of one of those title reigns in decades. So all three of them have gone off on their own to do something special for themselves. There's no lying about that. This is about the story of when that chair shot happened. When they broke up. And now, finally, this is about when these guys finally came back full circle, where the story was, you can never beat me. Seth to Roman. You've never beaten me, you can't beat me, and he's never beaten him. Roman to Seth. I'm the Tribal Chief. I've earned the longest reign in decades. I've been multiple time champions where you have done as well, but you keep getting hurt. If you did win this, how long before you get hurt again? That is what the premise has been. Both of them had valid points. That one has never beaten the other. And the other one said, yeah, I haven't beaten you, but I haven't need to go out because of injury. And I had the longest reign well beyond you. Well beyond many people in decades. So that was the story. And that's what they went for. That was the general story where they wanted to prove finally who was the top one. Was it Seth or Roman? At one point, and I believe it was Seth who accidentally nailed the ref. Ref went down, but he got back up. And then, no, was it Roman who nailed the ref first? Or was it Seth? But I do believe it was Seth. I think Seth nailed the ref first, and then Roman nailed the ref with a spear after that. I could be wrong. It could be the verse. But when this happened, and yes, Seth went into the timekeeper area. After that happened, when they fought a little bit, he went to the timekeeper area. He went and got a chair. He was going to use it, but couldn't get it done. But then when Roman tried to take that chair, he decided, nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to throw this chair away because this is about who's better. I'm not feeding into that. And they spent the rest of that match with a ref down, because the refs supposedly were down, to keep going. At one point, and this is before the ref went down, they went amongst the fans. The ref didn't count them out. He just let them go. And that was kind of sad to see that Michael Cole did not call that. He didn't say, I don't think Wade Barrett or Michael Cole said, hey, the ref is really giving a lot of leeway. I didn't hear that. I could have missed it, but I didn't hear it. Then, which I don't think they should have done, they powerbombed each other into the announce tables of the English and I believe the Spanish announce table. Each one powerbombing the other, which I don't think was necessary to do. Because, as you saw during the match, both of them were doing each other's moves. And what I said about Dean Ambrose, the current Jon Moxley, they wanted to do an homage to the third partner in their ensemble. And I give credit, Triple H had to let this happen because Wade and Michael Cole would not do that on their own. He had to let them do it because Dean could not be just left out. And he had to call him by their name, Dean Ambrose. They had to do it because they were doing his moves. Homage to him because he's not in the company anymore. He's in AEW. He's been multiple time champ in AEW. He's current Continental champ. He's with the Death Riders, which was one of the most prominent factions they have in a while now. Not saying it's been great, but you get my point. They had to announce that he's doing the moves and the other's doing the moves, and that's Roman and Seth, of Dean Ambrose. They had to do it. In the end, it was 3 spears back to back to back to finally beat Roman. And when this was all said and done, when Roman, who has, oh my gosh, I think he's got an elbow spur or just one big ass hematoma because I believe I got a shot of it into my face. He's got a big ass knot on his left elbow. It's a big one. It could be spurs because John Cena had that and it wouldn't go down. And he had to get surgery for that. Let's just hope he doesn't have to do surgery. Swelling will go down and he'll be all right. But that's a hematoma. That's a big ass lump. But when it was over, he gets up. he gets in the middle of the ring, and he puts his hand out like they're still part of the Shield. And Seth looked at him with the mask, the very mask that he used to wear, go to the ring. He fist bumps him. And now the story of the Shield is over, where it's actually the story of Seth and Roman is now finally over. It is done. It is over. It's finished. And here's the thing. Now what are they going to do? This is the problem with the current product of Silver Lake WWE. Because it is Silver Lake WWE, I will put the connection of the acquisition to Silver Lake in the comments below. I will put it. I don't normally, but I'm going to put it along with my Rumble connection. And if you guys don't know, I do have Rumble. I leave the connection there just in case something happens to YouTube and they take me down. I will have the backup of Rumble. You can go there and you can check me out. But when you see the product now, they don't think about making wrestling. Let's make this clear. This is a story that went back before the acquisition from TKO and then the acquisition of Silver Lake to TKO. Well, let me take that back. This is wrong. When it came to Endeavor, they acquired WWE and then they created TKO. And after the acquiring of WWE, guess what? Silver Lake acquired Endeavor. And now you got Endeavor, well, Silver Lake, Endeavor, TKO, WWE. And at this point, this company, which is a corporation, satellite corporation, well, it is a satellite company, WWE, I'm sorry. They don't make wrestling. They use wrestling to make money. If you didn't notice how bad it was, we had 30 ads during the show. One of them was for sexual performance enhancement. Dick pills to make your dick hard. When they never used to do that. I can't believe that came from my mouth. That they did advertisement for dick pills to make your dick hard for your woman in bed. That never would have gone years ago. Whether you like Vince or not, he would have never gone there. He tried to always keep it PG or under that. That's how Vince's always was. He tried to make it so be clean for kids. But now they don't do that anymore. They care more about advertisement during the show. They did advertisement for cricket. They did advertisement for Minute Maid. They did, I think they even did advertisement for A&W Root Beer. When you saw Chad Gable, once he said, I am the Intercontinental Champion, he called someone on with a mascot. And he had 2 A&W root beers. He popped those suckers and he drank them back. And I think that was the mascot for A&W root beer. I think. You guys can tell me below if I'm wrong. But if it was, all they do is money. All they care about is money. If you look at the ring, they got 9 names that do advertisement. This show was okay. The last match was very, very good. The second to last match was also very good. The match before that, trash. The match before that, trash. The first match was good. But that's it. If you look at both shows, night 1, night 2, if you try to grade how good both shows were, in honesty, the steel cage was not that great, which is Hell in a Cell last night with Ubafemi and Brock Lesnar. It wasn't even about the match itself. It was about passing the torch from Brock Lesnar to Ubafemi. It was not a great match. It was an okay match. It just did what it needed to do. CM Punk and Cody was alright until Randy Orton came out. Then it made it better. The women's match was trash. The match for Io Sky and Liv Morgan was okay. But honestly, why would you care? You would rather see Jordan Grace or Julia or Kiana Jordan or Lyra Valkyria and her new change in her character. Every person that was in these shows, they could have changed some of them out for people that don't have the opportunity and made it interesting, and they refuse to do it. This show, if you're going to be honest, maybe a B to C plus. I'm being honest here. You either got a B show to C plus. In most cases, I think people would say C plus. Others would say B. I'm not going to give it a... I could give it almost like a B plus, almost. But if you're going to be objective, it was easily a B. This was a B. This wasn't an A show. And the only reason I'm giving it a B when it should actually be a C is because the last match and the match before that, if there were any other matches that we got, like the women's, oh my gosh, the women's, I don't even want to say it. I'm glad Chelsea won the ladder match, but that women's ladder match pissed me off. When it comes to Danhausen, way overexposed, making it all about Danhausen, and it just didn't feel like it was real comedy. I'm just being honest. This was a B show. B. Not B plus, not A, not S, A plus, or an S. It was a B to C plus, easily. Most people would say easy an A. I'll say B. If you're lucky, some people say B plus. I'm saying B to C plus. That's all you got. And I hope you enjoy this night 2 of SummerSlam. Please give me a comment below. Peace.